Hey there, footy fans. Let's have a bit more footy fun here with FootyFin. And here I am with this Broncos shirt once again. And look, it is Sunday night. We've just wrapped up the fourth and last final in week one of the NRL Finals. It's time to say goodbye to the Sharks and the Raiders. We now have 6 teams left and 5 games in the NRL season. And every one of those 5 games is a knockout. So every one of those 5 games sees one team drop out of contention, and that will leave one, and they will be the premiers. Amazing maths. So listen, just a bit of a recap of the weekend's events. And look, Friday night seems like so long ago now. I was at the match on Friday for the Broncos v the Storm. Catch my amazing video montage in my previous video if you haven't seen it yet. My little foray into video editing software. Anyway, look, no lie, the forecast for Brisbane for Friday was chance of a thunderstorm, possibly severe in the evening. So was that an omen for the Broncos? It had us all a little bit worried. In the end, literally what ended up happening was a bit of drizzle around the start of the game. And that actually turned out to be symbolic. So I had tipped a Broncos win, but a very close one. It turned into a total one-way street, 26-0. Amazing effort from the Broncos. And to even hold the Storm to 0 was possibly the most surprising of all. Look, the Broncos, I thought they were very positive. They were on the front foot. They were playing enterprising footy. Melbourne, on the other hand, it just wasn't quite right for them. Their spine didn't click. Even the great Cam Munster after the game described it as dog shit. Look, sadly for them, although, look, at half-time, the Broncos had only scored 1 try and conversion and a penalty. It was only 8-0 at half-time. It was anyone's game. They ran away with it in the second half. Staggs got the first half try, and then in the second half, we saw tries to Walsh and Jordan Ricky, and then late in the game, Selwyn Cobbo over in the wing. Very one-sided, surprisingly so. And so that hoodoo and the bad record against the Storm and the Broncos' lack of finals experience across most players did not really come into play at all. Sadly, late in the game, in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game, there were nasty injuries to Xavier Coates, but worst of all to poor Ryan Papenhuyzen, who was only in his 3rd NRL game back after shattering a kneecap last year. Really sad compound fracture. So thoughts go out to Pappy, and stay strong, mate. It sucks. What else can you say? Anyway, moving on to Saturday afternoon at Panthers Stadium. They were hosting the Warriors, and of course, no surprise there. It turned into a bit of a one-sided game. The Warriors were without Shaun Johnson. Of course, they missed him, but I don't think he would have been the difference. It's just the Panthers' system, their shape, their processes. It's almost like it's happening in slow motion. You can see it coming. You know how it's going to pan out, and somehow it's still so effective. So they scored 3 first-half tries, 18-0 at half-time. You sort of, or was it 20-0 maybe with the late penalty? You sort of had the sense that the result was all but decided then. Ended up 32-6. Now, it did take Penrith a while to score in the second half. They ended up with 2 late tries in the second half, so 32-6. Now, the next 2 games were not at all one-sided. Very interesting. So the Sharks v the Roosters at Shark Park on Saturday night. Now, of course, the Roosters just came into the finals on the back of a bit of a winning streak, maybe about 5 or 6 games, including beating the Bunnies in the final round. Roosters were missing JWH and Tupou. They also had some injuries in the game that I'll run through in a moment. It was a gutsy win by the Roosters. And I think it's fair to say that the Sharks choked once again. The Roosters just seemed to want it more, and they got the result. The Sharks sort of looked a bit lost, a little bit lacking in leadership, I would say, and just were not able to seal the deal. Half-time was 6-0 to the Sharks. Now, in the second half, things went very pear-shaped. Suoli'i, I think, went off maybe late in the first half with, I think it was a head injury. Joey Manu re-aggravated his hamstring injury, so he went off, in addition to Suoli'i. And then soon after Manu going off, James Tedesco got a yellow card in the 52nd minute for a professional foul. So it was a bit like Queenslanders late in Origin 1. You had forwards playing in the back line, totally makeshift outside back and back three. Yet somehow they held on there. Now the Sharks, at that stage it was 6-all. In the 53rd minute, just after Teddy got sin-binned, the Sharks capitalised and they scored 12-6. And it looked like, being a man up for 10 minutes, they would run away with it. But then they bombed a try, sort of went out through the hands to Talakai onto the winger who kicked it back infield. It looked like Talakai was going to run through and score. And then seemingly almost out of nowhere, Blake Brayley appears. The bounce probably would have sat up nicely for Talakai, but Brayley ran through and it didn't sit nicely for him. He sort of bobbled it. And look, that was a massive turning point in the game for mine. Teddy came back on the field with no more score, having been scored. And then in the 68th minute, the young Rooster player, Siwa Wong, scored a fantastic try. Just a gutsy little one. Actually, it wasn't. It was just a good try. I wouldn't say fantastic. And then in the 73rd minute, young Sam Walker kicked a field goal. That ended up being the difference. I think I'm getting confused between the two most recent games, but I think the Sharks tried to kick one. Nico did try, twice. There were two charge downs. The second one was from James Tedesco himself. So yeah, look, sadly the Sharks just choked once again, like they did to the Cowboys at Shark Park last year. And they'll be left scratching their heads and wondering what if, while they down a few schooners and what have you. We do see Wade Graham retire. He played many games for the Sharks, won a premiership, played almost 300 NRL games. So all the best, Wade, in retirement. Now, moving along, because I'm conscious of time here, but the Knights Raiders has just finished about an hour ago. Amazing game. Look, I actually said to some mates before the game, I am tipping the Knights to win by 14 plus here, just because of the different personnel that the Raiders were missing. And it didn't start well for the Raiders. One of their players got a concussion in the 3rd minute and was ruled out. Newcastle ran away to a 6-0 lead. The crowd were loving it. They were on fire. But then Canberra responded with 3 tries before the break. So at 16-6 at half-time, Canberra were up. And it was a bit of worrying signs for the Knights. The crowd went a bit quiet. But then what happened? In the space of 15 minutes between the 48th and the 63rd minute, the Knights banged in 4 tries, 1 down the left side, 3 down the right. Dom Young was prominent in a couple of them. We had all the usual suspects, Gamble, Ponga, etc. So that left the score at 28-16. But then Canberra came back a couple of minutes later, scored a try, and then they scored a late try, a converted try in the 78th minute to seal it up at 28-all. In fact, Canberra, Jamal Fogarty had a shot at drop goal right on the siren on the 80th minute, which was charged down. And then it goes into extra time, 5 minutes each way. Right on the stroke of the changeover in extra time on 85 minutes, Jamal had another shot. That time Tyson Gamble charged it down. So desperation measures. And then finally in the 89th minute, second last minute of extra time, Newcastle got a penalty. I think Hudson Young was offside. Also, Ponga got hit high as well. Ponga nailed the conversion, and the Knights ran away with it, 30 points to 28. Amazing game, actually. Fantastic game. A high-scoring, seesawing match. A real arm wrestle, just what you want from finals footy. The Knights were playing their first home final since 2006, mind you. That's 17 years. That was the year the Broncos won, just to put it in perspective. And listen, a special mention to Jack Whiten. He has now played his last game for the Raiders. And as has Jared Croker. Sadly, he didn't get to play today. So congrats to those two fellas who've been stalwarts for the Green Machine. Anyway, I'm hitting 11 minutes now, gone on way too long. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm one off that magical 50 subscribers. And then a couple of my recent league videos up around 100 views. I'd love to get it up above the century for what a milestone that would be. What a day. So please like, subscribe, comment. Anyway, I've talked too long. Until my tips for week 2 of finals, stay tuned and I'll catch you out by the corner post, seeing if Dom Young might be out there too. See you later.